Welcome back. Today I wanted to talk about Extensible SSO on Mac OS. So starting off, what is it? It is an MDM key that lets your authentication provider cache and save some user login information that makes the user sign-in experience to company resources more streamlined and saves the user time. This is kind of the building block, the first foundational step of using other systems that kind of build off of this, like Microsoft's conditional access, the non-MDM section of Intune, things like that. Keep that in mind. This is the base level, but there are more advanced things after this as well. Currently, this only works for Microsoft Entra and Okta. Google currently doesn't have the same thing built out yet. And as of this recording, I don't believe they even have a timetable on when they're going to make that. So let's hop over to Addigy and we'll kind of just start with the setup and then I'll show you what it looks like on a computer. So you need two things to deploy Extensible SSO. You need an MDM profile and you need the Microsoft company portal app. Both of those can be deployed with an MDM. I like and use Addigy. If you're looking for an MDM, it's a fantastic option, but none of this is specific to Addigy. You should be able to do this in any robust MDM. So let's go take a look at the profile that I already have created for this. So in MDM profiles, if you're in Addigy, you can kind of walk along here. You're going to go to Catalog and MDM profiles. And then you're going to click new. I'm just going to search for the one I already have built. And next to my macOS one, we're going to click the three dots and I'm going to click edit. So in the fields here, this is just the name of what it shows in the system settings on macOS. The extension identifier, this is where you are choosing what app it's going to look for to store its SSO settings. So if that is Okta, you're going to use the Okta one. If it's Microsoft, you're going to use the Microsoft one. I will also link to Addigy's documentation on this as they do a good job of giving you the actual text that you could copy and paste in there. Then you're going to make sure you include the team identifier. That is generic to Microsoft, so that's not specific to your organization. And then you're going to want to add the recommended URLs. These are the things that the Mac is going to look for to say, hey, if I see one of these logins, I'm going to redirect you to the company app and get those SSO credentials. From there, there's a lot of other settings in here, which we'll talk about in a second. Most of them don't deal with what we're talking about today, just this basic level. A lot of them have to do with the next step of this, which is platform SSO, which is technically still in beta or still in the works. Platform SSO is where it would take over your macOS login for the users and sync that to Microsoft directly using macOS's mechanism, similar to how Addigy has their Addigy identity, very similar idea. But the platform SSO is not really working yet. I have tested it, and as of this video, it just isn't ready yet. What we need to worry about here, though, is the app prefix allow lists. These are going to say, hey, what apps do you want to allow to look to those redirects? So I have a list of common ones in here, which are Microsoft, Apple, your MDM, so in our case, Addigy, Adobe, Google, and Mozilla for Firefox. Most of these, as you can see, are browsers, making sure that different browsers your users use will get these settings. Third-party browsers like Chrome and Firefox, there is an additional step which we'll run through, but basically you have to push out another profile for Firefox that turns the setting on, and for Chrome you have to push out a profile that installs an extension for this to work. So once you have all the app allow lists you want in there, you will be able to save and deploy. You can do save and confirm, and then you'll be able to deploy that to your users as needed. If you're using Addigy, you can do the three-dot menu here and do assignments, and you'll be able to select from the list there. So here you can see what I was talking about before. I have two other profiles built, one for Firefox and one for Chrome. Let's take a look at those real quick. In the Firefox one, it is just a simple XML profile that is just saying turn on the Microsoft Entra SSO setting, and it's just setting it to true. And then for Chrome, it is just installing an extension. We'll look at that one real quick. And that is basically a similar thing. It's just an XML file that is saying force install this extension in Chrome, and it's pointing to the Microsoft SSO Chrome extension. So the other thing you will need for this is the Microsoft Company Portal app. And the way you deploy that in Addigy is you go to Software and Public Library, and you can just search for company portal, and you can see here is the Microsoft Intune company portal app, and you'd be able to add that to your policy to deploy. Now, the user doesn't actually ever have to open this app or even know it's there. It just has to be installed on the computer to save those settings. So this is a virtual machine that I have up and running that I just enrolled into Addigy, and we're just going to run through what it looks like for the end user to get all this set up for the first time. So first, we're just going to take a look at what we installed. So we have the company portal app. We're on purpose not going to open that at this point. We have our profiles. So we have our SSO profile, we have our Firefox, and we have our Chrome profiles. What we're going to do here is we are going to open up Safari, and we're just going to go and log into Office. So you can see automatically the login window looks different, right? It's an app login window as opposed to a just web console. So that is good. That means it's picking up on our settings. So I'm just going to log in here real quick. And once it's all authenticated, it will just log me in as normal. So now we can go and look at a couple other things. The first thing we can do is see if we open up a private browser, will it still work? Because it should, right? So if we just go again to portal.office, we're going to see that it's going to automatically log me in again, right? I'm logged in, didn't have to do anything else. Now, the other thing we can do is if we go into system settings here, we go to internet accounts, and we set up a mail account, Microsoft Exchange, put in my email, and click sign in, and sign in again. You can see that it's going to open up this window, but it's going to basically autofill it and say, hey, I already have this login information. I don't need to do anything. And then you can click done, and that's it. It saves a lot of time for the user to log into their account directly on the computer as well. The last thing we'll do is just look at Chrome here. So if we open up Chrome for the first time, we can automatically see that if we go to the extensions window here, this Microsoft Single Sign-On is already installed. So what that should mean is if we go again to Office, it will once again automatically log the user in. That's pretty much it. I hope this shows you how easy it is to push this out to your users and really give them a quality of life update when using SSO. If you have any questions about anything I went over today, or if you have any other video suggestions, drop those as a comment below. If you want to try out using Addigy, again, I think it's the best MDM platform out there. You can use our link to get a 2 free week trial just by going to cranstonit.addigy.com/signup. If you have any questions about Addigy, MDM, or anything I talked about today, you can also reach out to me directly. I can be reached at Marshall_CIT on the Mac Admin Slack channel, Marshall@cranstoninc.com via email, or on our website, cranstonit.com. Thanks so much for watching.